LittleMage presents The Holders, Holders 56 through 60. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls themselves the holder of reality. No, not TV. The receptionist will lead you up a flight of stairs that run much higher than it seems the building should be, before finally coming onto the top floor. There you will find nothing more than a single door. As you approach the door, the receptionist will make herself scarce. At this point, you could turn around and look for said receptionist, but doing so will only get you lost in the halls of the mental institution forever. Instead, open the door and continue onwards. Inside the door you will find a man sitting in an office chair, playing a game on a game console that you've never seen before. This console is a bizarre design, with a case made out of wrought iron, etched and painted in twisted demonic designs. In the game, he is torturing a person with methods too horrifying for words. Once you come to the inevitable realization that his unwitting victim is in fact you will become your avatar in the game, and be forced to endure any torture his mind may devise until the game finally ends. The game can only end in two ways. You'll probably go insane, in which case he will tear your very soul apart purely for his own delight. However, you might successfully endure the torture and will be granted the privilege of asking him a single question. If you ask him why you're in the game, he will force you to relive the entire game in its entirety, repeatedly, for all eternity. Instead, you should ask him, why do you play? With that question, he will scream in agony, and the console will reset. You will now be sitting in an office chair, the game console and the controller resting on the floor next to you. He will begin staring at you through the TV, a look of unspeakable fear on his face. However tempting it may be, do not play the game. It's probably the best not to even touch the game controller. Simply switch the console off, remove the game cartridge, and take it with you, leaving the console behind. The cartridge contains Object 56 of 538. You are in it once. Remember that before you even think of playing. Holder number 57, the Holder of Truth. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you reach the front desk, ask politely to visit someone who calls themselves the Holder of Truth. The worker will nod slightly and then turn back to what he was doing. He will not respond if you ask him again, and don't you dare ask him a third time. For if you do, he will show his true form and rend you into strips of flesh on the spot. Turn to leave. The door has vanished, but there is a trap door in the floor that did not exist before. Open it, preferably with something long, as it gives you a better chance of escape should they be waiting for you on the other side. If they are, run! Run as far into the asylum as you can. Find a window and jump out. All of the doors are barred or banished. Once you get out the window, flee as far as you can, preferably crossing as much water as possible, for while it will not stop them, it will slow you down, and you will require each second to make peace with your God. If they are not waiting, jump through the trap door. You will land in a splendid library. People in exquisite and elaborate dress everywhere, chatting and reading and relaxing. Do not touch any of them, or attempt to choose a book, for that is the trigger, and you do not want to pull that. Look around. You'll have all the time you need. Eventually, you will find a gray-haired man sitting at a desk, stamping an endless pile of books with an old returned stamp. Do not attempt to touch him or the books, for if you do, all the pleasant people will reveal what they really look like. And if you're driven mad in an instant of what you've seen, then consider yourself lucky. You will not feel the pain that they set upon you in a vehement rage. Instead, ask the librarian, the man you just saw, one question only. Which one holds his law? The librarian would look up, his eyes in a color not native to this earth or even this galaxy. They are a color so impossible you may be driven mad simply by their gaze. Steel yourself and stare directly into his eyes. Do not break eye contact, or he will look back down, not wanting to view the scene as the other patrons set upon you. He will tell you a name. It is a long one, but he will give you a card to help you remember it. Before you turn to look for the book. Ask if he will check it out in advance. He will nod and stamp the card. Don't bother looking for the book. It has already been stolen from the library, and you must find it. Close your eyes and say 3 words. Find the thief. Do not open your eyes for 10 seconds, for if the prior adventurers have not driven you mad, what you will see will at that point. After 10 seconds have passed, you may open your eyes. You will be across the street from the asylum, still holding the card. That card is object 57 of 538. You have checked out the book. It is now your duty to return it. Holder number 58. The holder of lies, appropriately enough. In any city, in any country, go to any insane asylum or halfway house you can get yourself into. When you get there, walk up to the front desk and ask to visit someone who calls themselves the holder of lies. The worker will nod cheerily and then get up and gesture for you to follow him. So will about 7 other people in the area. Ignore them all. They have strayed from the true path, and now only want to bring others to join them. Walk up to the desk and look under it. There will be a button flashing rescue orange and labeled "In case of emergency." Press it twice. Then jam the stool the worker was sitting on underneath it. This button is all that holds the door open, and you do not want it to slam shut on you. Get up and turn around. There will be a brushed steel door labeled "The True Path" in front of you. It is the one truth in this place. Ignore all the others. Only the true path leads to the liar. Don't ask. Go through the door. You may well be driven insane by your position, walking on the roof of a hallway that leads to an impossible direction. On one side, painted in an eye jarring at an impossible color. Ignore the visions. The only thing that is true is the path beneath your feet. You cannot shut your eyes at all here, by the way, lest you never manage to open them again. Endure the madness of your position. To say nothing of the sights will come in a moment. And start walking. The hall ceiling is tiled in red and white. Keep your feet on the red tiles or you will fall through, straight into the madness beyond, and from then you only have one purpose, to bring others to join you. Eventually, what seems like an eternity, you will find yourself in front of a plain wooden door. Open it and walk in. You will find yourself in a 1930s style office. A man in a black trench coat and a fedora hat hunched over a pile of papers on a desk, muttering and scribbling. A gun sits on top of the paper-loaded bin labeled "In." Pictures line the back wall, showing the man in a number of places, but you'll notice some things in common about all the photos. Well, besides the fact the man's in it. But 1, the man never shows his face, and 2, everyone in the photos, other than the man, appears to be in unimaginable agony. Edge your hand towards the gun, but don't touch anything. This man does not enjoy being disturbed. Steel yourself, and then ask to the air, where was he when they gathered last? Grab the gun quickly and fire at the man until you run out of ammo. If you don't, or if you miss, he will grab you and show you what his face really looks like, and you do not want to see that. When you do, you will peer among the photos of the wall, and you will see why the others were in agony. However, if you succeeded, the man will slump over his desk in mid-lunge, dead. A single envelope will flutter to the floor. If you honestly want to know where he was, grab this envelope. The message inside will tell you, but the contents are extremely volatile, and you may find that your mind can't handle this knowledge, for while the envelope will tell you where, it will not tell you why. There is more than most can handle. Don't try and read it now. You have no time anyway. Drop the useless gun and run. Run as fast as you can, for without its guardian, the true path is beginning to stray, and you do not want to be there when that happens. See the steel door, lunge for it. If you were too slow, you will be trapped as a confused worker removes the stool, and you will be tortured endlessly until you agree to replace the man you killed. However, if you were fast enough, you will appear in the lobby, on one of the couches in the rest area. Quickly get up and run to the green armchair. The object is calling, and there are others who want it as well. Throw the cushion off the seat. You have revealed a skeleton, twisted in a position of horrible agony. In his arms, he holds a book bound in navy blue and embossed in gold. The name is embedded in silver on the front. It's a long one. This book is Object 58 of 538. You have found his law, but it's entirely up to you if you should follow it. I think the truth guy's looking for that book. Now, the next two objects, 59 and 60, are very intertwined. Both of them require that in any city, in any country, you go to any construction site or foundry you can get yourself into. And, of course, when you reach the overseer, you have to ask someone that calls himself the holder of either work or the holder of twins. If you're looking for work, the overseer will sneer and assault you with a barrage of hideous truths. Do not react and restate your request instead. He will ask you to wait a second, as he has to call his boss. At least that's what he says. He will then leave. You'll wait a minute or two, and then another person will walk beside you. He will ask for the holder of twins. Tell him that the worker is currently away, talking to his boss. Tell him that both of you will have to wait until the warden returns. In that very second, the worker will appear, seemingly out of nowhere. He will politely ask you to wait there, while the other person may follow him. Disobey the warden for now, for if you wait now, you shall never leave the spot you are standing on. Follow them, pretending that you simply have the same way as them. After a while, you will reach a paper door. Do not be fooled. This paper is stronger than any metal you've ever seen. The warden will now open the door, letting the other person in. Follow before the door closes again, or wherever you are will turn into a house filled with your greatest fears, all of them, and you will be locked inside forever. Should you have followed the other person into the door, both of you will find yourselves in a small paradise. Although you will find everything you like and love, don't touch anything with your hands and arms. You can't help the feet part, you do need to walk. For the beauty will then quickly fade, and madness will overcome your mind. Simply follow the path you see below your feet, and don't leave it. The other person will have to do the same, and he will talk. He will tell you about many things, what has happened in his life. Do not talk back, just listen. Neither he nor you want to see what happens if he should ever stop walking on this path. For hours you will walk, and you will have to endure the talking. Finally, he will complain about having a sore throat and not having anything else to say to you. You will reach a golden door, and it will open. The closer you are, the wider it opens. Enter the door, and you will find yourself in an almost pitch-black room, lit by only 2 candles. One of them is beside a rucksack. The other is beside a mirror. Walk to the rucksack and lift it, as heavy as it may be. Walk to the mirror. Now, you choose your fate. Should the other person already be standing there, you can quickly scream, "No matter how hard the work, it will be done," and then smash the mirror if you want to obtain your piece of the puzzle. Should you have destroyed the reflecting item, the other person will scream inhumanly and slowly melt. After a minute, he will be gone. Only his shoes are left. Take them, and you will be returned to your home. Those shoes are objects 59 of 538. Don't ever put them on. However, should you choose not to scream and destroy the mirror, you will take the other person's place, as he says what reflects them. You will feel unbearable pain as you will slowly die. After a minute, you will be gone, and the other person's task will be fulfilled. It is up to you who dies. But if you're the holder of twins, obviously you have to walk with another holder. But when you reach the front desk and you ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of twins, a person will suddenly appear beside you, the seeker from the previous story. You will ask the person next to you the same thing that you asked the worker for the holder of twins. But the answer will be that that worker is currently away, obviously, talking to his boss. He will tell you that both of you are going to have to wait until the worker comes back. In that very second, the worker will reappear, just like before, and again it'll seem out of nowhere. He will politely ask the other person to wait while ask you to follow him. Do that, and ignore the fact the other seeker is disobeying the worker, and be glad that he didn't obey, or you would have been walked to your death. After a short while, you both will reach the paper door, and obviously, as I've said, it's stronger than metal. The worker will open the door, letting you in. The other person will quickly follow you. If he doesn't, pray for a swift death. You need each other on this mission, for now. And obviously, you will find yourself in that paradise. Again, don't touch anything, just walk the path. The other person obviously has to do the same thing. But this time, you're the one doing the talking, and you have to tell him everything you can remember from your life and hope he doesn't talk back. Neither you or he wants to know what will happen if you stop walking while being on this path. And for hours, walk and talk with this man. He will not say a word. He'll have to endure you. I apologize. Finally, as you see something shining in the horizon, whether it's true or not, complain you have a sore throat, and you have nothing else to talk about. Again, is this sounding a little on the familiar side? You will reach the familiar golden door. Closer you come, wider it opens. We've been over this. Enter the door, and you will find yourself in an almost pitch-black room with 2 candles. The room with the mirror and the rucksack. Don't take the rucksack this time. Walk to the mirror and stare into it, as horrifying as the pictures may be. You will notice the other person's now walking toward you. Your fate will be decided in the next few moments. Should he scream, no matter how hard the work, it will be done, and then smash the mirror, then your fate is sealed. You will feel unbearable pain after the mirror shatters, and you will scream out of instinct. You will melt, and the other's task will be fulfilled, and he'll have your shoes. Sorry, that's the way it works. But if he says nothing, as I said before, utter the question, what reflects them? You will now see the other person slowly melting as he will scream inhumanly. Endure the screams for about a minute, and he will be gone. Only the rucksack he worn will be left. Open it, and take the mirror inside, and you will be returned to your home. The reflection is object 60 of 538. Don't you dare destroy it. This has been objects 56 through 60. I took liberties with the last two because they're that closely entangled. Bye!